In this video, I'm going to solve the problem which I stated already in part 1. So it's very simple problem to solve using SuperproDesign software. So in this tutorial you will also know how the software will looks like, how to open the software first, and then how the graphical user interface look like, how to drag and drop the different unit operations, how to add some input streams, how to take the outputs, how to add some output streams in order to collect your output, and also how to connect two different unit operations using this software. And then at the end of the day, the software will also perform some mass balance calculations for you, and then it will also generate a very informative Gantt chart. So let's go to the tutorial. So just to open the software, I have this icon here in my desktop, but if you don't have it here, you can just type once you install the software. If you type here in the Cortana bar SuperPro, so this is your program that we need to open. So just open it. So it will take some time depending on how good your computer is. I have an i7 processor. This is okay computer, decently fast enough. So you will have something like this. So what you would like to do, we are going to start a new process file. So just select this one and press OK. So just use left mouse click, and then we are going to design a batch process. Just select batch and then press OK. So just expand the screen. So what we have here, so I will just solve the problem straight away once we finish the problem, you will understand what are the different components that's available in the software, and how to use them, and how to drag and drop, and how to connect different unit operations. So I will show you what to do straight away. Go to unit procedures, and then we are going to perform some reaction like A plus B, giving rise to new product called C. So 1 mole of A reacts with 1 mole of B to give 1 mole of your product C. So and then we are going to use heptane as solvent, and everything happens in a reactor. So that we need to design the reactor, or how do you call it? We have to drag and drop the reactor in the window. So go to unit procedure, select batch vessel procedure in your reactor. So just to drop it here. So what we are going to, if you look at the part 1 of the video, so we will perform some reaction in this reactor, and then we will take the product out, and then we will filter the product using a plate and frame type filtration unit. So let's go to unit procedure. If you come down here, there are different unit operations like sedimentation, distillation, extraction, absorption, filtration. So let's select filtration and select plate and frame filter. So select that one and then just drop it anywhere in the screen. So all you need to press is the left click in your mouse, and then it will place your unit operation here in the screen. So now we have to add some streams that should goes inside something like we have to add reactant A, reactant B, and then your solvent 3. So we should have some 3 inputs into the reactor, and then we should have 1 output from the reactor. So you can see like so many ports here. In the left hand side there is 1 port on the top, and there are few ports on the right side, and there are several ports on the right hand side of the reactor. So if you don't know what is what, just right click and then press help. So it will show you something. The top one is like a default input, and then the bottom one is something like a default output, and this particular one which is here. So if you imagine if your solvent is creating some vapor, so which means it's going to build some gas pressure on the top of your reactor. So we have to remove those gases out. So we have to vent them. So we call them as a venting port. So only this port can be used to vent the gases out. So you cannot use the other ports to be used as vent. So if you want to remove the gases generated inside your reactor, what you can use only this particular port which is on the top of your reactor. So let's close this one. So I'm going to I'm going to add some streams which allows me to load my reactants into the reactor. So to add some input streams, you need to go to you have to press this icon. It's called connect mode. Just click it one time and then put anywhere on the screen. So now you see your cursor, you will see something like add stream, so which means this function is active. Just click it here somewhere in the left side of your reactor and then just connect it with any of this port. So what we created now is like we created some new stream. So either we can add reactant A, reactant B, or your solvent, anything through this stream. And then let's do one more. So click somewhere here and then connect it with one of this input port. And then we can also use the default port to pump our solvent, heptane solvent. So click somewhere here and then press again the left mouse click and then left mouse click and then okay, if there is some mistake you can press escape key and then you can repeat the process again, say like. So we have 3 input streams. So if you want we can even rename them. So if you see the cursor, you see the word add stream, which means this function is still active. So press escape, it will disappear. And now you select the stream, just right click and then press edit label. So let's give some names. Let's say like a solvent in this case is heptane. And then we can rename this one. If you want we can move the reactor somewhere to just a left click and then you can move reactor anywhere in this screen. And then we can press escape key, then we can rename this stream, just a right click, press edit label. Let's put like a input A and then this one we can rename like edit label input B. So everything is fine and then we can add one more stream here to take the gases out. So let's call this, press a right click, edit label, put vent gas. Yeah. And then here you can click connect mode and then so this is your default output port, so we can use that port to take the products out. So we are going to take the product out and then we are going to connect it to the plate and frame filter. So I think this is fine. So now we can change if you want we can rename this stream, just a right click, edit label. We can say like output from reactor. Press OK. And then since this is a filtration unit, so once the product stream will contain your product C plus it will also contain your solvent. So we are going to filter the entire stream so that you can take our desired product and then the filtrate will come out. So we can add one stream and let's call it as a filtrate. So we can select any of this output stream, just a right. I added one stream, so we can rename it, just a right click, edit label, let's call it as filtrate. And if you see this one, the plate and frame filtration unit, you have again a lot of input ports and then a lot of output ports. And there is something here, like these are like filled arrows and you have some open arrow. So just if you want to know what is what, just right click, press help, and then you can see like you can take the filtered cake only in one port. So you cannot take the cake in this port or any of the other ports which is mentioned here. So this port, they clearly mentioned these are like liquid outputs. So we will take one is filtrate, so we will take the filtrate from any one of this port, and then for cake you must use this particular port to remove the cake from the filtration unit. So I will close it. So if you want, you can take the filtrate from any of the port. If you want, we can delete this one. Just click and then press delete, it will disappear. And then you can add, say this, select one of the output port and then just double click here. And then we can press escape, click this arrow, just right click and then just rename it. Let's call it as filtrate. Yeah? So we cannot take the filtrate out in this port. This port is exclusively used to take the cake. We can call it as filter cake. Yeah? So this port is only to collect our filter cake. So let's add one stream there. It comes out here. Press escape, right click, edit label. We call them as cake. So we're going to take the filtered cake outside and we're going to collect the filtrate here, and then we can even wash the cake with a fresh solvent. So let's wash the cake. Imagine if your product contains a tiny bit of A and C, and if they are soluble in the heptane, once we supply with heptane, it can wash away this tiny bit of those impurities in your products. So at the moment we can use heptane as our washing solvent. So we can add one stream here. So you can use any one of this input stream to add your solvent. So press escape key so that your cursor will become free. So just select this stream, right click, put edit label and then just tell washing solvent. Okay, I cannot type after more than this. I think there is some limit, I think, for the number of words. Just put wash solvent. Let's rename like that. And then once we wash it, we will get some washing liquid from your filtration unit. So let's add one more stream. So let's connect. Press escape key and then rename this stream. Edit label. Let's call it as wash liquid. So I think so far everything looks fine. So what we did so far is like we drag and drop 2 unit operations. So this is the main unit operation where we are going to perform the reaction, and then we take the product out, and then we are going to filter the product in the plate and frame filtration unit, which is shown here. Yeah. So and then we connected the input streams, and then we take the output stream and connect with the plate and frame filter. So in this case, the input stream for the plate and frame filtration unit is something connected to the output stream of your reactor. And then we are also going to take the gases out, which is going to build up inside the reactor. Yeah. So why we have this port is like, in this case we are using heptane as our solvent, and then we are going to perform this reaction at a slightly higher temperature above your room temperature, which is around 50 degrees centigrade. So it might create some vapor, and then we have to remove those vapors. So we are going to collect the heptane vapor or your solvent vapors through this port, and your output will come from this particular port. Yeah? So I hope everything is set, and now we can go to the next step. So the next step is we have to, so all we have is some stream, and then we just give the label like input A, input B, input like a heptane A and B, and then we give some name like output from reactor. Obviously there is no chemical which is going into this stream at the moment. So For that, we have to add the chemicals into the reactor. So for that, first we need